It's day 1644. It's a Thursday, November 17th, 2022. I just finished up a 7.2 miler. It was 27 degrees outside, so it was very nippy, but of course, you know, it's layers to this. Anybody who runs in the winter, it's all about greasing up. But today I contemplated two topics: loyalty and information. And I pondered on both while I was running, and I decided to go with information. And what I mean by information is that, as the parable goes, we all perish from a lack of knowledge. And it's not your fault that you don't know certain things. I mean, you don't know what you don't know. But the thing is, as a community, and I'm speaking about African Americans, we don't like to share information. We learn about a product, we learn about an idea or something like that, and we want to keep it for ourselves instead of, trying to help the masses out. As a community of people, we're already behind in so many areas, from financial wealth, financial literacy, home, business, land ownership, all that. We are behind. And we always think it takes a lot of money to get certain things, or your bank account has to be a certain way. But it's so many programs that we don't know about because nobody ever took the time to teach us. And it's a reason by that. That's what you call systemic racism. That's what it's really focused on, the system working against a group of people. So within that, we are held back, held away from the American dream, as they say. But the thing about it all is, once you get that information and you try to share it with people, people tend to think it's a scam because we have such a lack of trust in our people and those around us because of PTSDs from what's been happening to us in America's greatest sin of slavery. And so when somebody come and try to approach us with a new idea, first thing we say is, it's too good to be true. So people scamming. And there are scammers out there, so you have to do your research. But the thing is like, we're never making anywhere by fear. I mean, like, we believe in trusting the banks because they hold our money, right? So they hold your money. And don't you know, for every dollar they have of your money, they can lend 10, but they pay you 0.17% or whatever you do. So within that, in that retrospect, is it really benefiting you to hold your money in the bank? It really doesn't. And so with that being said, what do you do in the meantime of trying to do investments and otherwise? That's the part we don't know. That's the information that we need. And so within that, it's about financial literacy. So how do you get literate? That's where the information part comes in. When people start to share information with you, you realize that it ain't all as far-fetched in this American dream as we once thought. And so you think about every law that was put in place in American history. It was put in place by business owners and landowners. So therefore, all the tax codes, all the laws put in place was put in place to protect land and businesses. And so if you have one or both, then exercise your right as a business and landowner to learn all the perks that come with that. And if you don't have one of those, get one. LLCs, it takes you nothing. I was 36 years old when a white guy told me his father taught him to get an LLC when he turned 18. That's what his dad bought him. And he didn't really have a purpose for the LLC, but he had a business. And so within that business, you get to write off a loss up to 5 to 6 years. And at that point, but in that process, you get to write off tax deductions. And so we're so used to people telling us, allow the government to tax your checks at the maximum rate, that we wait all year to get a portion of that money back and the income tax check. But when you look at the numbers, You might be lucky to get 6, maybe 7,000, depending on if you had a household or you got dependents. But they take 20, 30, almost $20,000, $30,000 in some cases from you out the year. So what do the people who own businesses do? They get all their money. They don't allow the government to tax them at all. And at the end of the year, they find things to write off so they don't have to pay the government as much. And so when you do it like that, you save yourself tens and tens of thousands of dollars because you don't have to worry about anything else or anything further. And so when you doing that, you can find things to write off. And okay, so now your income tax become $5,000 you have to pay to the government rather than $30,000 that they took from you. So you saving your family $25,000. So just think about that. And so I've learned so much about finances in the last year, and I try to share them with everybody that I know will listen. You know, some take in information, some don't. But that's where you have to do your own research, and that's why they say you perish from a lack of knowledge, and not even just the knowledge, but the understanding of the said knowledge that you're giving. And so when somebody approaches you with money making things or money saving things, take it into account. I ain't saying jump out there and just totally believe every word of it. That's when you do your research. Learn the information. Because not only are you doing it for yourself, but you're setting your next generations up. And you'll be able to pass this down to your children, your sons and your daughters, that they can pass on. And now that's how you change generational. You break generational curses and you create generational wealth, because the next generation will be more prepared for the American dream than you once were, because you took the time to take in information, learn the information, process the information, and apply it. So with all that being said, take time to learn how to save money, how to make the money work for you, not necessarily you always working for it. Because the moment the money works for you, retirement is right down the line. And retirement is not an age. My friends, we're taught to believe that, but retirement is a number. And so find out what your number is, set yourself up, and you can live your life, experience life, the fruit thereof of life, without having to worry about paying bills or worry about how you're going to get money. That money that you made when you were hustling them years will now be working for you. So you'll be the master of the money, and instead of the money being the master of you. And with that being said, always see you at the finish line.